All right. Making sure here.
Looks like we're live.
We
I
are
see the
live.
live button.
Yep.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Calling All Bowlers. We are at number 9. We're about to complete 2 full hands of episodes. So I appreciate you guys. We're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. And the man of the hour, our guest this evening that we're going to be talking to is our man, John Leavitt. And as always, I got my boy Dustin Caps on here. He's going to help moderate us because we might go down a bunch of rabbit holes and not be able to get back. Look at the thumbs up right here. You guys are seeing it live. This is great. So,
Let's go.
welcome to the
Yeah.
show, John. I appreciate you being here. And I'm going to pass it off to Dustin. And Dustin, let's rock and roll, man. Let's have some fun.
Let's do it. I think we are going to have a good episode. Thank you, Michael. And thanks for having me in this Calling All Bowlers. And John, man, it's been great meeting you already, dude. We were chatting for a few minutes in the group here before we went live. And John Leavitt, I was saying the only other Leavitt I've known, I was in the Marines with a guy named Leavitt. He was a tall, skinny, blonde dude with glasses.
Yeah, that's definitely not my family. My dad's kind of a short, fat guy, so
Oh, he could be my dad.
so
I'm on the shorter rotund end myself. But yeah, John, right on, man. So where are you from, dude?
I'm from Holiday, Florida. I was just born there. I've been in the like Orlando, Central Florida area my entire life, and yeah, currently I reside in Winter Springs, but I do most of my bowling in Orlando.
Ooh. So how is that? Are there a lot of lanes, or I mean, I guess alleys or centers? Excuse me, bowling centers. How's the scene there?
There's a decent amount of centers. The big one that I go to is called Boardwalk Bowling. It's got 80 lanes, like the biggest one in the little area here. And the other ones I will go to is like Airport Bowling Alley, where it's just like 32, and then Aloma, which is about 30. But I like the big one, especially on Tuesdays and Friday. Well, especially on Fridays, they got amazing drink deals. Like I go there on Fridays to have my fun.
And you also do. You said earlier you stream your TikTok from Friday nights.
Yes, I do stream my bowling on Friday nights. I try to do it every night. I've been trying to get better at it, and the last 2 times I subbed the last 2 Fridays, and then yeah, I've been trying to get better on talking on the live as well.
Yeah.
Like one week I forgot my mic, and then this week I didn't.
Well, and for example, too, about an hour ago, we were in this little meeting yard, I guess you could call it, and having technical difficulties with your microphone. So, like
Yeah,
we were saying, hey, that's how you get better, man. You practice. The more you fail, the more you learn.
no, exactly. It took me 2 laptops, and now I'm just on my phone. So
Just going down
and
the
we
list.
yeah, we even tried to fix that second laptop because it was like denied it because the camera access for some reason. And we went through like 3 different like little like YouTube videos, all sorts of stuff, and just like nope, we're still denied. I'm like, my phone's okay. The camera's pretty decent, so they can see me. That's all that matters.
Yeah. See you, hear you. 80 lanes, man. I don't think I've ever been in an alley that big.
It's oh my goodness, it's awesome, honestly, especially on Tuesdays. It's got the money league where all 80 lanes are used, 78 teams, 2 lanes as a buffer. Um, what is it? And it's also great for the kids too, because it's got a huge arcade. It's got a pool hall. It's also a mini pool hall too, because it's got a great pool lounge. Like the pool tables are like top notch.
That's cool.
So
So is it 80 running all the way, or is it 40 and 40?
it's 32 and 48.
Okay.
So
Man,
I will
it's
tell you about Boardwalk. They've hosted Bowl Expo there a time or two.
yes, yeah, and I think they did. I know a PWBA event. I want to say a year or two ago. I know because a couple of my buddies got tickets, and I was kind of jealous. I'll be honest, because I love watching the bowling stuff on TV.
so if
So
you go ahead, Mike.
I don't mean to interrupt you guys, but before we came on here, Curtis sent us that text message.
Yeah.
So just to update, it says it wasn't bad. Somebody said it wasn't bad. it was at a rally, shots were fired, and it grazed his ear. And another guy just said it was at a rally in Pennsylvania. You just got back from there, dude.
Did.
Wow. Okay, back to your regular scheduled programming. Sorry about
And I
that.
did just get that text message too, which is crazy. Like literally seconds before we go live, you said something, and then I got the text. I'm like, oh, okay, wow.
Yeah, that's insane.
Wow. So,
Thanks for the update, Mike.
sorry, y'all. Go ahead. Back to it.
Not at all. I mean, I think that we were all probably kind of wondering anyway. So bowler expos, maybe both of you guys can address this because I've never been to one. The closest I've done, Mike, you know, the bowler, not Bowlerama, but the Bowlapalooza. But so what bowler expo, and especially there, because I just picture that being like some of the nicest lanes ever, you know. So talk to us about a bowler expo.
I personally have not been. I'm like right in the middle. I would love to say like a special skill level, maybe a little above bowling knowledge. I'm like probably mid tier, and doing like bowling tournaments and stuff because I do try to do a lot with my son as well. So the bowling is more like people were like, "Oh, you're so good." I'm like, it's just to have a good time,
Yeah.
like you know what I mean. And like my buddy, I call him coach because he knows how to put me where I need to be at all times. My buddy Drew Smith, and he knows so much more than me. Like it's crazy, and like I couldn't. I don't know because he's got the talent level. He's an amazing bowler. It's just I don't understand like how averages work sometimes. Like my average is higher than his, but he knows everything. He knows manufacturers. He knows all sorts of stuff. I just go to my ball game like, can you put holes in this, please? You know what I mean? So
Those are the easiest customers to deal with too. Can you just put holes in this for me? Absolutely. Cash or card?
yeah, literally just give me my two fingers because I bowl two-handed.
Yeah.
So my thumb is not made for bowling.
It's funny too. I'm sure Mike, you may have something to say on this, just as far as like when you have two different people, one's got more bowling knowledge, but then like you said, why is my average higher than his? It's very simple to me. I don't know what your thoughts would be on that, Mike.
Say that again. It kind of went in and out on me, Dustin. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. John's saying, and it's really, I'm not trying to make it more complex than it is, but John was saying that, you know, he bowls with a dude's got much higher bowler IQ, more bowling knowledge, knows all the manufacturers, in with everybody, right? Mm-hmm. But he's carrying a higher average. How does that work?
So, I mean, you know, the first thing I wanted to go over is so to answer back to Bowl Expo. Mm-hmm. So I haven't personally been to Bowl Expo, but basically all it is it's this big gathering of the entire bowling community collectively as a whole, and every ball manufacturer, every bag manufacturer. I mean, you name it, bowling. This is even as far as like the lane machines, like mechanics, general managers, the pros, the lady pros. Everybody is at this event. It is a big once a year extravaganza that that happens, and it's basically kind of like our World Series when it comes down to it. It's usually also when the manufacturers decide to put their upcoming releases out, and they keep those very under lock and key, especially. And usually, you know, a lot of people might say, "Oh, you know, you as the pro shop guy, I know you have access to it." There's some of the stuff they brought out that I didn't have a clue about. And I always tell people, it's like sometimes, you know, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
Michael Liu made a comment on here. He says bowling IQ doesn't always necessarily mean equal skill, which I completely can get behind that.
Yeah, I apologize for setting that up too much because it was I wasn't trying to make it like a big deal, but it's like, yeah, somebody have a higher knowledge, but you're throwing better. You're hitting. That's all there is to it.
As we're going on here, guys, I'm letting everybody know, especially on TikTok. If you don't hear me responding back to you, I'm giving you a thumbs up to let you know I did see your comments. And if anybody on any of our apps that we're live streaming from, if you've got a question for John, post it. I'll see it here in the comments, and I'll post it on the screen so he can answer that for us. And if I see it on TikTok, I'll kind of hold up my hand, and y'all are in the middle of something, and I'll get the question for you, John.
Gotcha. Awesome. That sounds awesome because I'm ready for stories and
Yeah.
just telling it all. Like, I love answering questions, so that's not a problem.
Okay, so I got a couple for you here, John, so you can get us going on your story. Back to our guest. Sorry, John.
Sweet.
What did you grow up around bowling? Did you ever bowl with a kid? Did your parents take you? What got you into it? Kind of as a kid through where you're at now, and then how
Mhm.
many?
So I didn't hear the second part of that question, but I grew up around bowling. My mom and dad literally 3 times a week in the bowling alley, and I was just a jerk of a kid, running around, messing with the arcade. And my dad is an amazing bowler. Like this guy, typical. He's 6'4", big guy, not big guy, but like 220 build, but just the prettiest release, just Mr. Graceful. And like that's who I compare myself to, because like honestly, that he's my dad, and me and him will talk a lot of how's the cursing here before I don't know what our limits are there, because
I,
my natural talking is weird.
I can tell you this: we've had a couple of I'll say slip ups, and everything's been copacetic. So I figured
Okay.
as long as it doesn't get too outrageously outrageous,
Oh
I
yeah,
think
no,
we
I
will
got
be,
you.
we will be good, brother.
Got you. I would. That's why I don't like stepping on toes like that. I just like to have a good time.
Right.
Um, but no, my dad, he's the one that I've been trying to chase myself, because he's got a lot of honor scores that me and him always talk smack, talk whatever to each other. Like I'd literally call him after every night of bowling, because he still bowls. He's damn, I don't know my dad's age. Uh, um, I want to say he's 57, 58. He is in that range, because I know my mom's 54.
Hmm.
Oh no, if my mom's watching, she's going to be really mad at me. Um,
I think like this.
she's gonna call me and be like, "Are you serious right now?" But he's still competing. He's actually in North Carolina now, because I used to bowl with him when I started bowling. I was 18 and started with him, and then they moved there about 5 years ago, and now we just talk. We talk smack. We call each other like, "Hey, how'd you bowl tonight?" Well, I'm getting my honor scores up, so like so that's how I got into it. Like, there's a couple alleys around here that got closed down, like Castleberry and Longwood. I literally grew up in those houses. Like, I know one of the guys from Castleberry now owns Oviedo, which is really, really cool. And he made that a bowler's house. Like, it's tournaments every weekend, very, very bowler friendly, which I absolutely love. Um,
I tell
Quick
you that
question.
the Florida area, you've got a lot of pros that live there, and the location, it's Florida is about the same as Atlanta is. There's always something going on every weekend. So I completely agree with that statement there, Johnny.
I have a question for you, John. Growing up, now I'm guessing that your dad, is he a one-handed bowler?
yes, he is a one-hander.
Did you start as a two-hander from the beginning?
Yes,
How did he
I did.
like that? Ever any?
He wasn't a big fan. Especially he is not a big fan of Jason Belmonte. He's just not a fan of that aura. Like it's not even the two-handed himself. It's more of like he doesn't like Jason Belmonte as a person. And I'm just like, I really just like how he bowls, man. Like I'm not trying to get personalities out of these guys. I'm just trying to get bowling tips. You know what I mean? And it's ironic. The way I started two-handed is when I was turned 18, graduated high school. They're about to come up on their fall league that they're usually doing on Friday nights. And I was like, hey, I want to go do something competitive, because I'm kind of done with basketball, and want to try to see if I can get a little cash out of this, because I'm 18. I just got a job. I got a couple $100 in my pocket, ready to gamble on some brackets or whatever it is, because I see my dad being awesome all the time on Friday nights. So um, they come up, yeah, let's practice. We'll go practice, see what's up. And my dad, he really wanted me to be a one-hander. 100% wanted me to be a one-hander. And I told him, I was like, look, my ball is moving about 1.5 boards when I throw it with my thumb. Like throwing it with my one hand, I don't know what it is, but it's going about a board and a half. me going two-handed, I can hook the lane and I can actually control the ball. And then he told me, he's like, all right, bet. Well, this is what we'll do. We'll both bowl two-handed, right? And if you can beat me two-handed, then I'll let you bowl two-handed on my team on Friday nights. I had to strike out to beat him by one. And the scores were terrible. They weren't great scores because he's not a two-hander either. I think the final score was like 110 to 111. Like,
Wow.
but now I'm here two-handed, and it's been 12 years of doing it, and I've been watching Belmo and honestly Kyle Troop a lot because my feet are a lot more like Kyle Troop, and my arm motion is more like Jason Belmonte.
I love both those guys. I actually, our latest tortoise, we got a rescue tortoise. I got 6 of them, but his name's Belmo after Belmonte.
Oh, that's awesome.
I can imagine the dad. I understand the dad's perspective because both of my boys are two-handers, which isn't so bad. I kind of expect that this day and age with the two-handers, but Mike already probably knows where I'm going with this. My oldest, he throws a backup ball as his primary throw. That's what
Okay.
he wants to throw that first off before anything. So they've been doing that. Gosh, what, Mike? A couple of years, 2-3 years already now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to rabbit hole that, but yeah, I figured your dad would be a little like, "What you doing, boy? You gonna throw one-handed?"
Oh, 100%. Kind of. And he's a gambling man too, so that's why we bet on it. You know what I mean? And I'd probably be an okay one-hander to this day, but I think I'm way better two-handed. It's a lot, for me at least personally, it's a lot more control. Even though when I first started, I was running to the lane. Like like now I'm actually walking. Like I can walk and actually put my ball where I want it to be instead of trying to throw it 30 miles an hour.
Do you feel you have that same control when it comes to spares?
Absolutely.
Just
Like
nice.
with my 10 pins, I do a backup ball.
Mhm.
So anything on the right side, I'll hit backup ball, and then anything on the left, I'll just hook at it. Like I know a lot of people do straight. I can do it. I just don't have a plastic at the moment, and if it works, it works. You know what I mean?
John, do you have any experience on sport patterns or challenge patterns or pro patterns?
A little bit of experience on sports, not a lot. I've done a lot of tournaments, like the state tournament that's here, the city tournaments, modified house shot tournaments. But like that's where I kind of like go off, and I've been trying to get into like more tournament based bowling. It's really hard when you got, well, personally, when I got an 8-year-old that's got soccer, basketball, and then I'm coaching those, so it's like I kind of got I well, it's not kind of have to. I am going to be there regardless. You know, I ain't going to be a coach that's like, yeah, we're actually I got a tournament on Wednesday, guys, so I can't. We're not having practice.
Yeah.
No, the kids come first to me all day. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
no, I was gonna go ahead. I was gonna say something silly.
Have at it.
I was gonna say I'm going to get in those sports patterns. It's going to take some time. You know what I mean? And lots of practice from Coach Drew. So that's the goal, man.
Get ready to use a plastic ball for spare shooting. That's all I can tell you. Because with sport patterns, I mean, I'm not sure if you've been seeing the scores I've been posting every week with my sweepers on Facebook, but the last 3 weeks it's been 550, 540, 580.
I
And
saw the one pocket 810.
yeah, yes, you saw that. That was me on house shot. There's nothing new about that. I know I am absolutely terrible. That's why I'm just a damn good average bowler.
I love that name so much. I think that's why I originated like just the follow
Yeah.
was because of that, and then just listening to your lives. It honestly has helped me with my bowling personally.
Well, and that's what this is about. This is what we, like I started this brand in 2021 and I didn't have a solid, I had a direction, but at the time, the brand that this was kind of my temporary. I was trying to actually go into car detailing and I'd actually developed my own detailing business. And this was like the secondary thing. And then when prices started going up, as everything was as at the time, people were like, we don't really need our vehicle cleaned. So I still working in the pro shop, like I still am, of course. Um, I started really focusing more on this brand, and I started focusing on TikTok because I was seeing everybody and their brother like grow like exponentially quicker on TikTok versus YouTube and Facebook. And I remember when I met Dustin last summer, I had told him I was really interested in wanting to start doing podcast type deals as, trying to build the brand. And by the way, Mike, thanks for following me on TikTok. But I was very adamant about it. And he had basically, Dustin has his own podcast called Caps Wisdom. So with that experience, I was like, this is a win-win situation. And we started doing the DGAB podcast in November. And then I had this side project I was wanting to work on. And Dustin has been nothing more than exceptional in providing advice and improv acting, which you could see, everybody could see his improv acting on some of my TikTok videos for customer states. But we really started getting serious about this. And I think I showed Dustin that I was serious about wanting to do more with the brand. So I'm just glad that it's where we're at is where we're supposed to be at. And I am just more than excited that people like yourself, John, are wanting to come on here and are wanting to talk to us. And another thing about the brand that I really like to project, like as far as like mission statement, I mean, you can see it on the website, what the mission statement is, but I really have a good following with people that are just now starting out trying to get into like league bowling, just bowling in general. And Dustin's kind of in that area too, where he is a actual recreational bowler. Like, and to me, recreational bowling is we know what it is, we have a foundation for it. But for people that are like hardcore into leagues and then going to tournaments and everything, they don't really have that balance with it. Some of them want to learn about it. Some people just want to be like, hey, I'm cool doing this fun recreational league that you run every 16 weeks per time, at a time, excuse me. So the the idea, the brand of itself, you could go back and watch episode 3 with Jackson Styles. I call him Socks. You'll get the whole story of where Damn Good Average Bowler came from. It was actually my buddy Socks that basically, long story short, I shot 825 one night. I made my post. They want us to like build up the brands, of course, the ball you're using. And he basically said, at the time there was a ball called Damn Good Verge. And he says, well, that's what a damn good average bowler does because I was wearing my average bowler shirt. And all of a sudden, boom, here it is.
That clicked.
Dude, it just clicked. And I was like, and I had an old girlfriend of mine at the time. I was like, I need you to draw me a logo. She put this and about 2 others together. And like I said, dude, here we are. Everybody out there on TikTok, everybody like yourself. And it's been amazing, like having people on to tell their story. And I'm really glad you're here with us, John. I really do appreciate it. And Dustin as well for his guidance and his experience with doing podcasts. And it's only helped me get better at my craft and make me a more well-rounded individual, being able to feature everybody on there. So, Dustin, I appreciate you, sir. You're not. I'm going to put thumbs up there, but it's not going to be like yours, or 2 thumbs up. Yeah. See, look, he gets the little fireworks in the background. Yeah, ain't that cool? That's freaking great. So,
That's so cool.
But we love having people on and talking stories. And another thing that Dustin and I, we were kind of going over with this calling all bowlers. I think, Dustin, I think at one time you were like, how many different states have you talked to people in? And I was like, you know what? I'm not really sure, but I would love it if I could just try to talk to one bowler from all 50 states. And I think with this right here, we're going to cover 10 episodes in. We're going to have 10 states covered. So this is just
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
At least 8 or 9. But so again, man, thank you so much. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad everybody's out there enjoying it. And we've got a lot more coming. And I'm actually going to take a minute here too, Dustin, and we're going to throw in like when we get done with this podcast in about an hour and a half, and that's for you too, John. If you want to tune in on TikTok and any of the other outlets here, Facebook, YouTube, we're actually going to have like a DGAB update type thing where we're going to tell everybody what we've got, some stuff coming, and it's going to be some really awesome stuff.
I'll definitely be there, and I'll be honest. I appreciate the invite, man. Like I was super nervous sending that first message. I'll be honest. I was like, man, I'm very very personable and very outgoing and stuff like that. Like I could talk to people face to face very easily. Like I'm very good at that. So when it comes to text messages, like people can't. I don't know. Like it's really weird for me. Um, looks like he just cut out there. We'll see if he comes back. Hopefully.
We'll get
Um,
we'll get him back.
but yeah, I was very nervous with that first message. I'm like, man, like I don't know how to reach out to people. I'm just gonna throw that message out there. And you've been so nice the whole time, and like just genuine, like you said, like a genuine guy. Like I love that kind of stuff. Like and I'll tell you like a story of how me and Drew. Honestly, I call him Coach Drew, but he's probably my best friend. Like we go through a lot together. I've only known him I think only like 3 or 4 years, but we've been really cool together. We bowl a lot together, and it's how we met was actually really funny. He was bowling next to me. I was on the corner pair, which everyone hates the corner pairs for some reason, but I actually personally like them.
Mhm.
Um, but he's on the pair next to me, and everyone knows me in the league as a sarcastic a-hole. Honestly, everyone knows me. I'm just very just sarcastic. I'll joke around. I'll talk some smack. All just to have a good time because I'm very competitive. I like the competitive stuff. Like I want to win, but I'm gonna have fun while I'm doing it. I ain't gonna be just roll by like beep boop strike one, beep boop strike. No, I'm gonna have a good time. Like I can't stand the people that like they'll shoot 300
Hey,
and then like yeah, and it's their like first or second one. I'm like, how do you not get any emotion from like shooting that? Like I I've done it a couple times and my heart's still through my chest on shot of 12. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like I don't get people that don't show that emotion. And what's up, Dustin came back. Um,
yeah,
Welcome back,
but
Dustin.
right, welcome back.
Hey,
yeah.
But I
so you got a buddy of yours on here watching on YouTube, and I want to put this up here.
oh thanks, buddy. He cheats for his tens.
By the way, hey Michelle, I don't want to like act like I'm not, I don't want to feel like I'm ignoring everybody, but everybody's joining in us on TikTok. Thanks for joining the live, and we're sitting here talking to John, and Dustin is back. So guess what? Glad you're back, buddy. That's the time. We're gonna swing it right back to you, my friend.
Yeah, my speaking of children, my Branson was calling to ask if I'd heard about the attempt, and it totally shot everything to shit on this. To answer your previous question, you will not offend us with any of your language, John. Like I'll let you know that you're not going to offend us. I spent 20 years in the infantry. Mike's been in the yeah. You're not going to hurt our feelings, dude. So I think I caught the tail end of some 300 conversation. That was actually on my list to ask.
Ask
um,
away.
yes, ask away. I love that.
So how many you have? How many 300s do you have?
I just shot my seventh one last Friday.
When was your first?
6 or 7 years ago. I want to say it was 2016. No, 2018. It was 2018. And ironically, it's my only honor score at that house. My first one at airport. It was at Sanford at the time. My first two games of that set was a 151 and then a 160. And then me and my buddy at the time, I was drinking what I call apple juice, but it's Angry Orchards, the apple cider beer stuff, but I call it apple juice. And my good friend at the time, we went outside. He smokes a cigarette, and he's like, "Hey, by the way, you need to have apple juice. Like you just need to have an apple juice. Just relax, do your thing." And I went in, ordered myself a juice, a juice, and I the most nervous I've ever been in my entire life was on shot number 12. Especially he's got his son in the back, and all I hear, like the whole bowling alley still got music, stuff like that. The one thing I hear is his son ask, I don't know who he's asking, either his mom or his dad, but how many does he have? Oh my god, I hear that on the back, dude, and I'm just like, oh my god, my heart's out my chest, and like I'm just please. And my buddy tells me afterward, he's like, I was about to take you off the lane, like you were just taking your sweet ass time there, like you were there. And and the funny part, it was my best shot of the whole set. Like
Yeah.
buried the pocket, no messengers, no nothing. And then my friend is very big, so I literally jumped in his arms and like kind of cried because it's first honor score. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
but yeah, and honestly, I keep count so I can keep. I'm trying to keep up to my dad because he's at 16 300s and he's at 6 800s, which I will definitely catch that. That's the goal, man.
That was my next question. How many 800s?
I'm personally at 3. My highest set is an 816, and then I have two 804s, which I thought was funny.
How long, going back to that first, your first 300 game, how long were you chasing that first one? Was it a chase forever? Did you get any 299s, 298s?
It was more 279s more than anything.
Yeah.
Like I never hit the 280s, 290s until that. Like I think I've done the front 10 one time, and then I guttered and then hit 9 on the shot afterwards to go like I think that was a 279 because I guttered.
Yeah.
And I hit 279 probably 100 times, and then I hit 300, and I've only shot I think one 299 and then one 298. And then the rest, if I get the 12, I usually try, I usually hit it.
When was your last one?
2 weeks ago.
Nice.
Yeah. Had that
Yeah.
on live for the first time on TikTok. I was so cool, dude.
Oh, hell yeah. How was that? Talk to us about that, man.
Oh, and it was the week I forgot my mic. I was so bad, dude. I was so bad. Cause like, so I forgot my mic, right? So I'm like, my buddy Drew, he's got a tripod set up that connects to the score set, right? So it gets me just the lanes. That's all. When I have my mic, I usually like to put it in the back table, and then I could talk to whoever wants to talk or whoever wants to whatever chat on the TikTok. But that was the one time I forgot my mic, so I put it right there. And honestly, I forgot I was recording. Forgot it. Like, because after like 8 in a row, I just locked in, and I was like, nah, I don't want anyone to talk to me about bowling. We're it's Friday. I want to have a good time. We're drinking. Like, I ain't worried about trying to talk about bowling and scores. And then, of course, the people I'm subbing for, they have their like family along with like the grandkids and stuff like that. And then, of course, all of them are non-bowlers. So the first thing they say, "Wow, you have 7 in a row. I've never seen a 300 before." I'm like, "That's cool. Thanks." I mean, I've only done it a couple times. You know what I mean? And then I got so excited because I grew up on Kobe. So I always put Mamba mentality into everything I do, even though it might, some people might think it's silly or whatever, but it's a true statement sometimes. Like you just got to lock in and just be there. Because as soon as I hit that 12th man, I threw my hand in excitement. I was like, "Let's go!" Those people can't talk to me that way. Like all in my head, you know what I mean?
Pull the old Pete with a modern day Pete Weber.
Dude, that was one of my first 300s. I did that. Who do you think you are? I am. My favorite quote of all time is that one because I watched that U.S. Open live, and that's honestly one of my favorite sporting moments ever to watch. Is that one,
Gosh,
especially?
You were young watching that live.
Yes, I was. I want to say I was right before high school. It was like right in that range because I want to say that was like 2012.
Yeah,
in that area, 2010s. So I was just graduating, and there was so much history to that. I think that's why I really watched it because me and my dad, especially my dad, he's really, really into Pete Weber, and um, yeah, he so much history, especially his dad passing away at the moment, and then that little kid or the kid he made up. We still don't know the true story if he made up that 11-year-old in the crowd that was talking smack to him. You know what I mean? Like I love that. I love people just being competitive and like they're just letting their emotions out. You know what I mean? I love that. I do that personally. You know what I mean? I'm very loud. I'm very obnoxious to some people. You know what I mean? But I'm just there bowling, having a good time, and talking smack. You know what I mean?
What we'd also call real.
Yes, I try to be as real as they come. Like my buddy Drew will attest to this. But when we first met, he thought I was just being a sarcastic prick because I because I told him I was watching him bowl, and God, the guy's amazing. He's got a one-handed throw, and he puts more revs on the ball than I do as a two-hander. It's incredible.
Oh,
And like I went up to him one night on a Friday night. I've never met him in my life. And I was like, "Hey, dude, you are awesome. I love watching the way you bowl, man." And like the way he looked at me kind of threw me off. And he tells me like years later, he's like, "Yeah, dude, I thought you were an asshole. Like honestly, like I didn't even want to be with you. I didn't want to talk to you." And then I just realized that's how you are. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to have this sarcastic tone all the time. It's just natural, I guess." I kind of blame my mom on it.
I'm the same exact way. I think Mike would probably attest, and my mom is to blame for that as well.
So
Yeah.
I want to tell you, you're talking about being emotional and everything, and I've got it on my TikToks, my videos and everything. We were live doing a tournament, and Dustin and I were doing commentary, and I got to 10, and of course I botched the 11th one, and of course everybody was like, "Oh, like." Messaging me going, "Oh, you took the Lord's name in vain." I said, "Look, guys, I promise you." I said, "God dang it," because I don't like that word. And I said, "I promise you, I know it sounds bad, but uh, I've always told people, and I think you'll attest to this because of how your energy is towards telling us about your honor scores. I have had 24 300s, and I will tell you this down to a T that if there's ever a day that I am going after 300 and I am not nervous, it's time for me to find something else to do." And
Or
I will
time to go pro.
yeah, well, or I tell people, I sarcastically, I'll take up underwater basket weaving.
Facts.
So, no,
And
man, keep that energy, man.
oh,
Keep that
facts.
energy.
My biggest thing is like when the people shoot 300 and there's no motion. You know what I mean? Like, bro, that's an honor score. Whether there's so many 300s nowadays or not. How many have you shot? Like, oh, that's my second one ever. How do you not get excited? Like, I'm on 7. I'll get excited every time for 12 in a row. You know how cool that is? Like being on a certain percentage of the world. Like, there's so few people that have actually shot 300. You know what I mean? And that's your multiple one. That's awesome. You know what I mean? And there's people I personally know that just boop and they're like, "Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, good
That's
job
man.
to me."
No, no.
Right? And
And
it's just like,
actually,
how?
yeah. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing here, John. So I had this discussion. I actually had it with Salazar, our buddy that Dustin was telling you about before he came on live, and he recorded me when I shot number 23. And of course, I come back there and I'm calm and collected, and I just give him the thumbs up, and he kind of just laughs about it. You can hear it on camera, and then he cuts the take off, and he goes, "Man," he says, "I gotta ask you something." He goes, "What's the deal?" He goes, "You just shot 300," and I was like, "Yeah." I said, "So Chris, here's the deal with me, man. I'm not trying to take that away from everybody, but what I will say is you got to look at what game it's in." And I had a guy a long time ago tell me back in 2010 after I shot the sixth one, I got very animated, very emotional about it. And he looked at me and he goes, "So how many is that for you, Michael?" I said, "Well, Richard, it's 6." And he goes, "Oh, okay. Well, why don't you act like you've been there before?" And let me tell you something. I went from like the most highest of highs to like turning red in the face, and I'm pissed off, and I'm like, like, and again, to me, it was like this guy was one of my bowling mentors in the fact that he could take any ball that he would literally pot bowl people and say, "Tell me what ball you want me to use." And somebody literally one night asked him to beat him with a house ball, and absolutely smoked him.
Oh, jeez.
And I got my bearings about me because what's so bad, what made it even worse is salt in the wound, is I shot 300 against the guy. We were bowling scratch. And the next game, uh, the guy I was bowling against shoots 300 on me, and I go 170 because I'm pissed off at this point because it's like, how dare this guy say this to me? And I got
Right.
my bearings. I left. I came back, And I did. I went to him in the bar, man to man, face to face, and I said, Rich, I said, why did you say that to me earlier? I said, because that really bothered me. And he basically said, Mike, he says, let me tell you something, buddy. He goes, if you, he goes, you have a lot of God given talent. He goes, I see a lot of the future in you. He goes, but he goes, what did you finish with tonight? I said, well, I had a bad last game and I ended up with a pretty terrible set. I wasn't the greatest set. It was a good set, but it wasn't like, it's like one of those times where you're like, I could do better, or I could have
Facts.
done better than I finished with. And he was like, yeah. He goes, so look at it like this. He goes, you got more games to finish. He goes, you got to be able to finish that out. And fast forward to like literally 6 months later, it was like November that year. I go 255. I shoot 300. I'm calm and collected. And even my teammates were like, "Hey, what'd you do with Michael? Because you just did that all carefree and everything." And I said, "We got one more game to go." And I started that last game off with the front seven and get tapped a couple of times, and I finish it out. And I shoot my high set at that point, which was 8-11. And I looked at everybody later and I said, "Look, this is why I didn't say anything till the end. Now, who wants to go have fun?" So it's one of those things of like, what kind of bowler are you? Like, what are you trying to set? You set the pace, and I think if anything else, I have actually like not even said a word to people getting under their skin because I'm not responding to them. So something to just consider. I'm not saying anything's right or wrong
Oh,
with how you go about it. Just be you, be unapologetically you.
oh,
So,
facts.
so,
100%. And
so just
that,
something to
that,
live for.
oh, 100%. And I really never thought of it that way before because, I guess me being super emotional and stuff like that, I'm just kind of used to it, kind of like a Pete Weber vibe. Like I'm gonna show my emotions on my sleeve, and I'm still gonna bowl well. Like I'm here. It's how my energy is, and I guess I don't think of it that way. Where a lot more, there's some people that just got to be calm to be able to throw a good set, you know. So, but yeah, I don't think I'll be that guy. I don't think I can be.
Hey, and that's why it's called calling all bowlers because we're talking to every bowler and how they handle things.
Facts, facts,
That
and you got the emotional, excited one here.
I think it's also a good example of the different levels of bowler. Like we've mentioned just in our conversations today, on and off camera, a few different times. Like I'm in the middle level. I know, John, you've said that. Like, so it's almost a different rungs to where, not to say that I'm at the bottom, but I'm a rec bowler. Carrying the 170 average. I don't have a 300 yet, and this goes back to a thing that Mike would ask too. You can do that after this. Would you rather have the money or 300 or whatnot? But I haven't thrown a 300 yet. So when I do, if it's the first game of league that night, like I'm probably going to be, my headspace is going to be occupied the rest of the night with that 300 game. No, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're still you got 7 of them. So you're still in the level of like, hey, dude, these are freaking money. That's kind of moving up to where you're like, yeah, I can be excited. How are you not excited? This is awesome. I'm living. You're seeing what's inside, and then you take some breaths after the game. You get the blood pressure back down. Then you continue bowling, and then old Mister 24 over here. I love giving him shit about it, dude. Uh, the perspectives, I knew right away he was going to talk about that because we've talked about it numerous times, of that's just kind of that, not to say next level, but that's a different level perspective. I hope that makes sense.
no, absolutely, and yeah, I'm still at that range where I don't know if it's ever going to be my last one. You know what I mean? Like that's how I always treat my 300s. Like it could be my last one. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow, man.
Well, yeah.
Like, and what was it? Last night, Friday, a buddy of mine shot their first 300, which was awesome. I got that on live TikTok, even though my phone was like, I want to say it was like 7% at the time. I was like, come on, man, just throw that ball so my phone don't die, dude. Like, come on. And he shot his first one. He got so excited. Like after the league, like we go to the parking lot and he just goes right by me, dude. Like his headspace must have been just, he couldn't hear me. He must have been on cloud 10 because I said, what's up, my guy, Mr. 300, Mr. King of the Court today? And he just walked on by. I'm like, he must not have heard a word I said because he's walking with his wife, you know what I mean? And probably just feeling like a badass, like,
Well,
yeah, I just did that.
I
And
know.
I'll just say I completely agree with him, dude. You do your thing. Like you are the king of the court today, my guy.
So another Another thing, back to that, telling you about when I messed up that last shot I had at a 300. If people really want to know why I was so upset that I botched the 11th ball, it's because Mr. Caps over here was on pace to shoot 240 with his amount of sticks and everything, and I didn't have high game closed up. So I would have been very disappointed had I went 280. I went 287 that game, and I was like, I did. I came back, and you can hear it if you were on that live. I was like, I don't even know if I have high game locked up.
That's always.
I was up on the approach, and I think I heard you behind. You were asking Tanya or somebody like, "Hey, how many?" You asked something about what I was at or something. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I was asking her how many pins you had. I was like, I don't even have high game locked up.
John,
Oh,
a couple questions for you before we have to get out of here. Let's start with this one. What's in your arsenal? How many bowling balls do you have currently in your possession? And then what's in your circulating arsenal that you actively use?
So I only have 3 bowling balls. It is a Trend, a 3D offset, and then a purple urethane. I'm pretty sure the purple hammer, whatever, the most popular purple urethane.
Yep.
Yeah, and those are my only 3. I typically just use the Trend or the offset depending on how the ball looks that night, honestly, like during practice.
Now, the main thing is the Trend is a Belmo ball, so it fits. It fits.
Yes. Here. Oh, and I got plenty of my honor scores with that ball. That's for sure.
I'm guessing what was the other one? Trend and what?
The offset, 3D offset, the one that just came out, I think last year, the year before, and then a purple urethane.
Was it the blue one, John?
It's a purple one. It was the one before that one.
That was the original 3D offset. Yeah.
Yeah, before the attack, correct.
Mm-hmm.
And I shot my first 800 with that ball, which, ironically, my pro shop guy, me and him talk a lot, and I was like, bro, it's too strong. Like, I want to be able to play more of a let it throw it, like get it down the lane and then hook, but I don't need it to hook like to the 7th pin. Like that thing hooked out the box. It took 3 times of polishing the ball, and then I went off for 804. So, and I shot 300 the last game, ironically, to go 804.
Has any of your 800 series, have you done it without an honor score?
Yes, I my 816 was a 269, 279, like 270 something.
Those are the best ones right there to me.
Oh, I felt so cool about it, man. I'm like, I didn't even shoot 300 tonight, boy. You know what I mean?
So
I'm guessing we don't have those in the pro shop, do we, Michael?
We don't do what?
Either of those balls that he's talking about? Do we have either of those?
The Trend, no. We the 3D offset was a previous release. They're not in production anymore.
Gotcha. Nice. We're kind of running out of time. Not that we're in a hurry or anything, but a few questions for you, John, to think about and answer how you want. Maybe like one of your best favorite memories from a tournament or league other than the 300 that we talked about, those types of things. It can be a 300, but one of your favorite best stories or memories from a league, the opposite, worst. One of your worst moments or like a biggest brain fart moment. And then another one, I don't want to put you on the spot with it, but at the end, I do want to ask you what's your biggest takeaway, because you said you've been watching DGAB and enjoying the content, and you're like, oh, I pulled you in. So maybe what your favorite thing, biggest takeaway, maybe something you've learned, or favorite segment. So there's a little bit for you to talk about.
Oh, absolutely. So I'll go with that first one, the last one you just answered, because it's in my head fresh. Honestly, it was a lot of ball control, like him talking about like trying to hit a certain board and like controlling the speed a lot more. And that really helped me 2 weeks ago, like on the last Friday, because he was talking about how your 10 pin would fall, like different ways of your 10 pin falling means you need to do different adjustments. And I was taking that a lot more, and trying to actually just speed up my ball and slow it down compared to like moving, like how I usually move for a 10 pin is up and back. So I controlled the speed a little more, and actually it seemed to help me more because the second game I left a 10 pin in like the second. So I was like in the fourth frame, I was like, all right, I'm going to speed it up a little bit, and it worked.
Nice.
So those are things I've been learning from him, and like I've been trying to get more of like he's been doing more like ball information and like what certain balls do and certain. I've been trying to learn on that. I am still clueless when it comes to that right now because I just it's so much to it. It's crazy. Like there's like three different like numbers that you got to pay attention to, and there's RPI, there's this and that. I'm like, and there's shapes in the bowling ball. I'm just like, oh my god, there's like cones and giraffes and stuff. I don't know what's in the bowling ball anymore, but you know what I mean? Like they got all sorts of shapes now, and they all do different things, like a corkscrew, and then this one's just a spear, and then this one's maybe a crescent moon. I don't know, but I've been trying to get more into that, and been trying to watch more in the pro shop so I can learn more ball information. Going on to the first question, my best moment ever in bowling. That's a tough one. It would have to be between my first state tournament with my parents, because that was a very, very cool moment. And then honestly, my first 800, because my first 800, during that night, I was bowling with my father-in-law and a really good friend of mine at the time. And we were drinking. I'll tell you that. We were drinking a lot of so much to the point where I shot the 300 the last game. And then I was screaming, "Woo, let's go!" Da 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 da. And I'm so drunk, I get emotional. I'm crying. I literally just plopped to the ground, started crying, and like my father-in-law at the time, ironically, his name is John as well. Funny, but he's like, "Why are you crying right now? You just shot your best set." Da, da, da. I'm like, dude, I didn't think I'd be this good, man. Like, I always watch my dad, and he's just so much better than me. Da, da, da. Like, I literally was on the bawling on the ground. And funny part is, it was on lanes 1 and 2, so everyone's just looking at the corner like, what is wrong with this guy right now? Like half the lanes didn't know what I was doing, and that was one of my favorite moments of all time. And then my low light, huh? That's a tough one because like I'm very, very good at forgetting low moments. Like I try to keep the bad, apples out of the tree. You know what I mean? Because it'll poison the rest of the memories. Um, I probably have to put it at a tournament. Probably one of the cut the fields tournaments I ran at, or not ran, but did at Oviedo. And it was like one of my first couple tournaments. And then the first couple games, I'm shooting well. I'm shooting 250 and like 230. And then I get the question because my average at the time was like a 180, 190. So everyone's typical question after, man, you must be sandbagging, huh? You must be a sandbagger, right?
There we go.
Dude, I'm like 18, 19. Like, no, actually, I might be 20, but I'm still a young kid at the time. I still consider myself a kid, but I'm a young kid at the time, and these people would talk about me cheating and sandbagging and stuff, right? And I haven't been in the bowling scene that long, and then literally just tanked my games. Like, I went like 130 and then 150 afterwards, and it's just like, and I couldn't hit the pocket. Like it wasn't due to like, oh, bad carriers. I just couldn't hit the pocket. I was in my head too much. And
Yeah.
I think that's one thing my dad has got me a lot better with. And I'll give you one of his best quotes of all time because I'll use it till the day I die. If you don't think you are the best person going on to whatever you're doing, whether it's basketball, bowling, baseball, whatever it is, and you're a competitor, don't go out there. There's no reason to go out if you don't think you can be the best out there. And I will take that to whatever grave because like that has worked so much for me. Like, because I know there's people better than me. I know that. But I can be the best today. So that's always a goal of mine. Like, I know there's people like and if there's people from Central Florida watching like Justin Mandel or Terry Rodell that they average 245, 250, you know what I mean? But there's a day I can beat them. It might be nine times out of 10 they beat me, but I'll get them that once. I'll get them one time. That's all I need. That's all anyone needs sometimes is just once. You know?
Any
So
given Sunday.
exactly, any given Sunday. That's why I'm a big Jags fan. Go Jacksonville, man.
I totally agree with that. And the biggest thing that I mean, I even wrote down, I loved it, how for right away you're like, well, I don't try to remember the bad moments. That's I love that. I don't know if you even quoted it that way, but bad apples, I like to keep the bad apples out of the bucket so they don't poison the rest. I think that that's so important for anybody in any discipline or sport or whatever, bowlers, sports guy, whatever you're trying to do, is something I'm trying to teach my kids already. Is you got to have the instant amnesia, and we're not
Yes.
even going to bad ones. We're not even going to put the bad memories in the bucket we're throwing them. We don't need to remember that unless you get learning points from them. You know, then we get the learning lessons from them. But just in general, throwing the bad memories, the shit moments away. I think that's drastically important. I love the fact that you said that. That's huge.
Oh, 100%. And that's a big thing with my family. Like we all have mistakes. We all have moments that we are 100% there. And especially it's 2024, everything's goddamn recorded. You know what I mean? Everything's on camera, whether you don't think so or not. I might be in my house right now, or I might go somewhere else. There's going to be cameras or whatever. Everyone's going to have a bad moment. You know what I mean? So it's at least in my personal opinion, it's our job to not worry about that, right? Worry about what's coming up. What's the future like? What are we setting ourselves up for? You know what I mean? Because if we just dwell on the past or our like negative thoughts, we're never getting anywhere. Man, if I would have dwelled on my negative thoughts about bowling, I wouldn't be on this podcast right now. Honestly, I would have probably, ooh, that's tough. I would have probably tried basketball more, even though I'm still short and it's not going to work that way. And I'm not saying I'm short, like generally, I'm just saying I'm short in basketball sense because I'm only 5'11". I don't even have a six in front of in front of it. So basketball wasn't working. But if I had thought negatively all the time, bowling wouldn't be here. Like if I shot 120 and I shoot 250, last game is last game. We'll figure it out, man. And I like to compare bowling and golf because I feel like there's a lot of similarities to them, like bowling shots and golf shots, right? You could be just a tad off, just that much off, and the whole shot's terrible. You know what I mean? Like you slice it or fade. I'm not a golf expert, so I don't know terms like that. But let's go as main phrase. Being good at frames against teams we dis. Oh yeah, I she knows me very well. I do like bowling better against people I don't like, and that's and I become you earlier, Michael, when you say you don't talk or anything. I either don't talk to them or I'll praise them even more. You know what I mean? Like kill them with kindness kind of thing, because no idea how often that actually works. You know what I mean? Just, bro, you are so good. They'll shoot like 250 the first game and then shoot 250 for the back two games. you know? So
So, John, let me ask you. So, you said earlier you have you coach kids basketball, correct?
yes.
And is one of your kids?
Yes, I have my 8-year-old on my team. His name is Ashton. And that's honestly like bowling on Friday night and then going on a Saturday to coach the kids is like my best 2 days or best 24 hours of my week is bowling Friday night. And then Saturday morning, I get to coach kids or yell at kids or however you want to say it. I like saying yelling at kids because it's a little funny, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you ever see me coaching, because I go live on the Facebook with it, because a lot of families on my Facebook and everybody wants to see my son, not me now, but my son. Uh, and I know you can attest to that because he's adorable. I don't get me wrong, he is an adorable kid. He is very nice. But when he gets on the court now, he's acting like me. He's talking. He's talking a little bit. And I love it, man. Like I absolutely love the kid and other kids too. Like one of my favorite kids on my team right now is named Riley. She's a little girl, and I've had her on my team 4 or 5 seasons now. And this season, she's just going ham. Like she's becoming I want to say like Dennis Rodman. You know what I mean? She's getting all the rebounds, all the steals. And like last game we played against we played an all girls team. And she goes up to her mom, which is my assistant coach, and I love her to death. She knows a lot more about basketball than people ever give it credit for, because I take her advice more than I take my own advice, because she knows the game very well. But she goes up to her mom. She's like, "Hey, mom, I just want to let you know I'm the best little girl out here, and I'm going to prove that to you today." She stole the ball like 25 times. She made her first basket ever in basketball. Like I about had a panic attack. You know what I mean? Like I love that kind of stuff. Like, and I'm on the sideline just cheering her on. That's why I love coaching. I'll always love it, because it's such a satisfying feeling, like just giving kids advice. They take it and then they're just, yeah, we did it. You know, it's such a great feeling, man.
Let me ask you this, following on to that. So, what has becoming a father? What has it taught you?
Patience. Like that is the biggest thing, is patience, man. Like, and I was very young when I had Ashton. I was 22, 23. So I'm still a big kid, man. Like I always tell my parents, like, I'm a big kid. I know I'm 30. I'm a very young dad. That's why I relate to the kids so much, because the kids play Fortnite with me, or we talk about Pokemon, because I'm a big Pokemon guy. I love Pokemon. I actually just played Go Fest today for Pokemon Go. But I can relate to the kids, and I feel like that's why I'm okay at what, or I'm good at what I do, according to some people. And I always compare myself to my dad, because he was my basketball coach, and that guy is just, and it might be weird saying it, but he's my idol. Of course, I was a growing kid, and he came into my life at, I want to say 8, because he's technically my stepdad, but he's my dad, man. Like yeah, like he's gone through thick and thin. He's taught me so much about life, and just like, but going back to the question, patience and honestly loving people. Like he has shown me how to love so easily. Like, and like, um, he's so nice, and just, he's not confrontational or anything. He's very good at being competitive, but also being very nice too. And like loving everybody, giving everybody hugs and stuff. He's taught me a lot, and like that's one thing I'll always treasure about him, is he's taught me patience and love, man. And it's crazy to see, like, he's got so much family, and like some of these families before I had my son, I couldn't stand them. I couldn't stand talking to some of these people, and I'm so sorry if they're watching, but like my mother-in-law, couldn't stand her before Ashton. Before my son, absolutely not. Me and her were, eh. But like nowadays, we're really good. We're really good now. We can talk. Um, she loves me all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Because I think she sees how I am with him. But like we 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 couldn't stand each other. Especially she's a Giants fan, so I really can't stand that. But and I'm always going to bring sports up in one way or the other, because I'm a big Yankees and Rangers fan because of my mom. But yeah, that's two things he's definitely taught me, is love and patience, and being able to love people with mistakes, man. So that's
That's
definitely fatherhood.
that's awesome right there, Dustin.
I that's pretty much it. I think that was a great question and great answer right there for really to wrap it up. I don't have anything else that I would want to put on top of that. Nolan Ryan's my favorite, probably athlete ever though, for a Rangers fan. Nolan Ryan's my.
For
New
me,
York Rangers hockey,
Joe,
hockey.
Oh my bad. I was gonna say that's quite. I was gonna say that's quite the
Oh,
drastic difference there. But yeah, my kids love hockey. I never been to a hockey game until I came to Alabama.
I would say go. That is like, my
Yeah.
favorite sport of all time is basketball. But if I'm going to a live event, it is going to be a hockey game every single time. I go to my amateur hockey games all the time down here, and it's just great spectacle every single time.
We have the Huntsville Havoc here. They're, I don't know, triple whatever they are, but I mean, we have such a nice.
SPHL.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
we have the Solar Bears down here.
Yep.
dude, our venue is awesome because I was at Fayetteville, North Carolina, where I retired out of last year, and we had the Fayetteville Marksmen. And dude, they played in the ghetto. I needed a tetanus shot after I left that game. But here in Huntsville, man, Von Braun Center, VBC is such a gorgeous venue. The Huntsville's a good team. Yeah, I came here the first time like 15 years ago, whatever. And she's like, yeah, we're going to go to a Havoc game. I don't know what that is. She's like, Huntsville Havoc? Still don't know. It's hockey. What do you mean hockey in Alabama? What? But I've been to a ton of games now. My kids have. I got the jerseys. Yeah, dude, they're a lot of fun.
Oh, trust me. I mean, I'm in Florida, and anytime I talk about hockey, people just give me this like
Yeah.
kind of face. You know what I mean? Like, what is hockey? Like, there's no ice down here in Florida. Like, what are you talking about, man? And it's funny that the Panthers just won the Stanley Cup, a
Yep.
Florida team.
First
Like
time.
yeah, it's the first time for them, and ironically, the last 5 Stanley Cups have had at least one Florida team. But
Yeah.
yet we have no ice down here.
Yeah,
Man. Great.
we don't get
Oh,
much.
man.
One last question is kind of like Mike's. I had it down earlier. If you have anything different, any advice you would have for either new bowlers or just bowlers in general that want to get better?
So my advice to a lot of new and I'm going to say this for at least two-handers in my personal thing is like a lot of two-handers from starting, they always like to run fast on the lane. They don't slow down their feet enough. Like that's the biggest thing I've noticed with at least brand new two-handers or even new bowlers is they run. Walk with your feet. I promise you don't need to throw the ball 25 miles an hour. You just need to be accurate. Throw that ball 18, throw it 16, shoot, only throw it 12. Like the main part of this game is consistency. And if you miss a little bit, hit your spares. So my suggestion would be walking to the lane and not running would be my biggest thing because that helped me go from a 170 average to a 210 in a matter of 2 seasons.
And funnily enough, that's good for one-handers too, because going back to Salazar again for the third time, he's getting a lot of love tonight. But when I bowled with him a couple months ago or whenever it was, that was the big thing he told me. And slow your feet. And I thought my feet already were slow. I certainly wasn't running up there in my mind, but he's like, just slow your feet even more. And so I did. And it was funny how doing that, it put everything else into alignment, it felt. So that's the big
Yes.
thing I'm personally telling myself right now when I get up there is slow feet, follow through. That's the main 2 things I'm working on right now. So it's one-handers also with that slow feet.
Yes, this and the feet thing has helped me with my ball control and my ball speed a lot. Because if I want to go faster, I just speed up my feet a little bit. Just a little bit, not too much where I'm going to be inaccurate, but just a little, little kick in the stick, you know what I mean?
But it's
So,
also keeping all 3 together though. You by speeding up your feet, everything else falls in line with that pace rather than having to catch up or whatnot. Yeah, it's crazy when you start doing it right and you feel it's like, oh, that felt so good. How do I do that again?
right, for real. And me and my buddy used to call it we used to I can't remember who sings the song right now, but we used to when I first started slowing down my feet, we called me Mr. Slow Motion because I'd be like, I'm slow motion with it, slow
Yeah,
motion with it.
yeah.
So I can't remember who sings that, but we played that song every time I bowled and it seemed to work.
I know what song you're talking about. I'd have to look it up too, but I like it. I'm gonna probably have that in my head now. I like that. Hey man, if it works, you always student of life. You get better anytime you can.
Facts. If it works, man. It doesn't matter how ugly it looks. If it works, it works. Because my two-handed originally did not look pretty. I'll tell you that right now. Like I was running to the lane. My hands were everywhere. Now people say, "Wow, it looks so good." I'm like, it's 12 years in, man. Like I hope it looks good at this point. Like because reps, a lot of
Yep,
reps, man. And I used to work at the bowling alley, so what I would do is get there about an hour or two early, oil some lanes, practice for 2 hours, and then get to work.
I like it. Hell yeah, man. Uh,
Yeah.
I think that's everything for me, Mike. What else you got, dude?
Dude, that was the way to go.
Yeah,
So we're gonna wind it down here, John. It has been awesome having you on here, my friend, and I appreciate your continued support. And yeah, Dustin's gonna give you the 2 thumbs up with the fireworks in the background.
I
So, but
love
as
that.
I said, I appreciate everybody on TikTok. I appreciate everybody on Facebook and on YouTube for watching us tonight. Hope you guys had a blast. And before I go, I think I'd be amiss, and Curtis would probably jack his jaws at me if I don't do this. But if you've not done so already, like and follow on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Damn Good Average Bowler. Cannot miss it. It's all over there. And if you've not done so already on TikTok, give me a follow if you enjoyed the content. And everybody else out there, you dropped your comments, your questions on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube. I truly do appreciate it. And John, keep it going, buddy. It's continue being 1% better every day, brother.
Exactly. I appreciate you putting me on the podcast. I appreciate us being able to be so real about this. This was a very awesome experience. I encourage anyone else, if they just want to get on the podcast, send them a message. I was very nervous at first sending messages. I'm terrible at fa- social media stuff. But sending him a message, it was awesome, man. Like, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, buddy. I appreciate you, coach. But but yeah, send this guy a message. He is awesome. Damn good average bowler. I've been watching him for a little bit now, and this was an awesome experience. If you ever don't have a slot, I'll always be available. I'll figure it out, man, for sure. So
Absolutely.
definitely
I've got a
following
lot
him
of
on everything.
Yeah, a lot of the
And
previous guests want to come back on for like a whole big thing, so it's in the works, my friend. Hey, I
oh,
think
I,
we'd be remiss too if we didn't announce it here. So one of the things that we're doing, guys, is we are in the process of trying to get our sublimated jerseys going. So,
sweet.
John,
Yes.
that might be something you might be interested in, would it not?
Oh, 100%. I'm like, I can't wait for this next paycheck so I can at least get a hat because I've been meaning to get a hat for the longest time. And it's just every single time I just keep forgetting about it. But I need a hat because I love the beaver. I love the beaver, dude.
Hey,
Hey,
everybody loves the beaver.
and we hadn't talked about it before, but Mike, we'll talk about it more. Maybe a combo, a jersey hat combo, in the works potentially.
Dude, we got a lot of stuff we're going over right now, and again, y'all just stay tuned because this is not the end. This is the beginning. And yes, I'm
Yeah.
paraphrasing Nick Saban. Sue me.
Hey, I'm glad I'm a part of the beginning, man, because I'm just gonna watch this grow and just be here, excited for this. This was very very fun.
Man, thank you so much, John. And everybody, if not already, John, plug your TikTok on here for us. They can give you
Oh,
a follow on there too.
is it? Uh, let's see. I'm pretty sure it's the man Johnny 2. Man,
Hey,
I should have really just did my homework today.
no, it's okay, man.
That's how we
No,
learn.
so y'all go in there and give Johnny a follow on TikTok, and let's build him up because guess what? It's all about paying it forward here with Damn Good Average Bowler. And again, I just thank you guys so much. I cannot say thank you enough. So John, thanks for joining us. Dustin, thanks for helping us move along here, and we appreciate you all. And stay tuned here in a couple of hours because Dustin and I we're going to be back exclusively on TikTok, and we're going to be doing kind of like a little DGAB update. So you guys stay tuned for that. Johnny, hope you want to join us over there on TikTok when we get back. Okay.
Oh, I'll be charging my phone ready for it.
All right. You guys have a wonderful evening, John. Thanks again, Dustin. You're the man. Appreciate you as always. And we will talk to you guys soon. Okay.
Yes, thanks for
Thanks,
everything. Everyone have a good night.
John. Thanks for joining us, brother. It was a lot of fun. We'll definitely talk again. Thanks, everyone.
Yes, excited. Thanks again. Bye-bye.